Welcome to Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast, where we hear stories from fellow seamstresses just like you. We're able to share their success stories. We learn from wedding industry pros for the best business tips, and we get to hear from fellow sewists and crafters to hopefully inspire our creativity and our love for sewing. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a bridal seamstress, I'd also like to invite you to check out our Bridal Seamstress business membership. We have a community of women that can testify to the power of genuine connection, friendship, vulnerability, the power of our six-figure seamstress method, and a genuine connection found in a business mentorship like this. All right, let's dive into the episode. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress. Thanks for making time for this episode. I hope that by the time you listen to this, your season has begun to wind down a bit. I know we have a lot of friends in other parts of the world where this is where things are ramping up for you, but at least for my friends in the Northern Hemisphere, we are celebrating just a new dawn, right? Because like the stress of sewing, like summer sewing, is winding down. And congratulations on making it through. I'm sure that you're just kind of like, I cannot wait to just sit in the couch and not have a huge to-do list of things weighing on me. I can just enjoy like being in my own company. So I hope that if you're not there yet, you are getting pretty darn close, right? Well, this is the season where, if your sewing is slowing down, we want to pour into our businesses, like, refresh our website or finally start that blog, or like you name it, do some rebranding or like change our prices. Like, I feel like there's so much that we want to do in our businesses that we just don't have the capacity for when like it's busy season in the summertime, or you want to like kick off that like side hustle or whatever. And I love that. We're going to have podcast episodes about those things, in these next few months, because I know that's what's on your mind. So we're going to be focusing on that. But before you dive into all that stuff, you driven entrepreneur, I want to add one more thing to your list before the season ends. And you're like, no, get me to the couch, give me my tea or my coffee and just let me like space out. And I get that. And I want you to, and I want you to get excited about your business updates. But before you get there, there's a really important piece that you got to include in your planning here, or in your season wind down. And that is closing the loop, or just giving yourself that time for reflection. Because, as entrepreneurs, we are always chasing the next big thing. I feel like there is something a little wrong with us. we're just we're just built different, you know what I'm saying? But that is such a great skill to have. That's what keeps us going forward and growing and not getting bored in our businesses. Like, we can just keep, making it better and better for our clients, and challenging ourselves. And it's so great. Like, it's such a cool and unique skill to have. But with that, when we immediately jump to the next big thing or like the next goal, we are skipping a major step, which is that recognition of getting the first set of things done. And we're basically telling our brains that we don't finish things, because we tell our brains, okay, this is the stuff we want to do. We have this to-do list, or we want to make this amount of money, or we want to get this amount of clients in the door, or we want to like finish these projects, like get these dresses out the door, or whatever, like you name it. I know that you have a long to-do list, and you're probably really good at writing lists because, like I said, we are cut from the same cloth, so to speak. Okay. But if you quickly move on to your next set of to-do list items without telling your brain, oh, good job, you finished the first set, you're telling yourself that nothing actually gets done, and you will forever and ever and ever have a never-ending to-do list. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, because we've all been there, right? So I want you to think about what this could potentially do to your brain, like long term. And I'd like to call this the open tab phenomenon. Okay. I was recently on a Zoom call with one of our members, and it was one-on-one coaching, and we joked about it. She had so many tabs open, like she was sharing her screen, and I'm like, oh my word. She had probably like 15 or 17 tabs going, and I'm like, how do you keep track of everything? How is your computer like literally still working at this point? Because like there are so many tabs open. Maybe you've been there where it's like you are doing some late night shopping or you're working on some project, you go to bed, the next morning you open up your laptop and you're like, whoa, I closed nothing. I just kept opening new tabs. And how is my laptop actually turning on at this point? I know I do the same thing with my phone. And I think it's because there are so many things that we use on our phone that like just go to a new window. Like they open up a new tab and we don't even realize it. And then it's like, why is everything so slow? And then you close all the tabs on your phone and you're like, oh, now things are working a little bit quicker. Well, the same thing happens to our brains. It's like we have this, like the digital clutter and the mental clutter are the same. Okay. So during our, especially like our busy seasons, we have so many tabs open. You have to just kind of keep things running. Even if you have like a successful staff and you feel super organized. And as a woman, we are really good at multitasking and just having so many things on our brains at the same time. Don't even get me started if you have like, heaven forbid, a family. Okay, and you need to add that tab too. So there are so many tabs open. And what we do with our next big idea or the next project that we want to work on within our business, we just add another open tab instead of closing it. And so that impact of the unfinished tasks or those open tabs, they just slow down our creativity and our processing, right? It's just like those open tabs slow down your computer's processing power. All of these open tabs in our brain is going to slow down our own processing power and our creativity. So you're like, I don't know, even just me talking about it, I feel like I'm like getting tense. So maybe you're feeling tense and you're like, I know, I have all these tabs, these things that I'm still thinking about, or just like, I haven't even stopped to just celebrate like my June brides that I was so excited to finish up. We know that June is such a big month. And then you had to just like take a deep breath and get ready for like the next rush in August or whatever. So I get that. It's kind of like this like survival mode that you might be feeling, but here are some tools to help you manage the tabs along the way so you don't have to like close them all finally during slow season. Here's how to manage them throughout the year. And we'll also just I want to give you some tips on how to do that and then how to really give yourself this restful celebration at the end of busy season before you plow into your next ideas for the business. Okay. So closing the loop is the same thing as just like recognizing your wins or just noticing that you got things done. And it could be something really simple as like a celebratory journal entry, like you're writing down the fact, oh my gosh, it felt so good. I had this big project where I was, a gown reinvention, or I had this client who was really particular and she left, she signed the contract, she was so happy with the pickup. Just journal about it. If you journal. I know like there's just this week I was talking to a girlfriend about how she's petrified to start journaling because she doesn't want anybody to find her journals when she dies. And I get that. Totally get that. I journal every morning and every night, and I've been doing that I don't know, since I feel like 2015. And it has, oh, it's so helpful for me, but I do have a pact with my sister that it's like she will come in and she will find them and she will burn them before anybody can see them. Not like I'm like talking about any, well, I probably am talking to people actually, but they're my own private thoughts. I don't want to be reading those after I'm gone and no. So if that's what's holding you back from journaling, find a burn buddy, okay? And then you have all the freedom to say whatever you want in those journals, okay? So back to journaling. You could even just have this like celebration journal entry, like this was done, or oh my gosh, I finally figured out how to use Canva, or like I started the blog or whatever. Write it down so that like you have a little record of what you got done. And it's almost as satisfying as like checking the box off of a to-do list, right? Which let's add that in there too. If you write down what you need to get done, don't forget to go back and cross out what you did, or even better, circle what you did. So you're like, yeah, that got done, been there, done that. It's off the list. I accomplished it. I feel really good about it. It's a simple thing. It's literally free. You're not charging yourself, right? To just recognize those wins. But what it does cost is just a couple minutes of your time. And then you're telling yourself, you got it done, it's finished, good job. And then what that does is it closes this little tab in your brain, and you can just imagine like the space opening for something new and light and easy. And it's fun then to add something else to your brain because you've already completed that first task. Does that make sense? We're building self-efficacy. It's so crucial to recognize what has been done before we move on to the next thing. So self-efficacy is different than like having this giant ego that's unhealthy or, something that nobody wants to be around. But when you have a strong sense of, yeah, when I want to get something done, it will get done because I have self-discipline and I do follow through on things, that confidence is it's like a subconscious confidence. It's not like you're verbally telling yourself that every day, but think about what that could do for you if you know that's how you run your business. That's how you prioritize your relationships in your life. That's how you manage your money. That's how you take care of your body by going to the gym or going for walks or eating the right kind of food. When you have this subconscious voice that knows that you get the things done, think about what that does for you and your business long term, or just like your well being, as opposed to, okay, you had this idea and you didn't do it. Like you thought about this last year and you never did it. So why do you think you're going to do it this year? Like you've been talking about a veil collection for 2 years and you're what mean, who says you're going to do it now? As opposed to, you had this really cool idea of starting a veil collection, but look at all the other things that you did that took up your time and energy. You built a new website, you hired new staff, you were training some new people, you organized your taxes so well this past year. That's why you didn't have the energy for the veil collection, whatever. So you see what I'm saying? It's like you just look at things differently and you kind of give yourself a little bit more compassion. If you were your own best boss, how would you talk to yourself? Would you be like, "Oh my gosh, you never get anything done." No, you'd be like, "Oh, you did a really good job completing this task. Why don't you, kind of do something a little bit easier this week? Because I know I gave you a huge project. You had like so much effort and energy into that project. So why don't you just take it easy, you know, have a lighter load this week, and then I'll give you a bigger project next week." We're talking about your dream boss, your dream. I'm so used to saying dream client. We're talking about your dream boss. Okay, maybe your dream boss would also be like, "Hey, you deserve a little coffee date with yourself," or "Hey, here's a bonus. A couple, have a later morning, come in later." You know what I'm saying? Like, think about how your dream boss would treat you because that's literally who you are for yourself. And I have a really good feeling that you're not a really nice boss to yourself and you just kind of keep piling on new tasks without giving yourself the grace to like recognize what's already been done. Is this ringing any bells? And building that self-efficacy and that confidence. And when you look at, successful entrepreneurs or successful business owners, rarely is that the same person who consistently beats themselves up or consistently sees their own failures. When you look at somebody, I'll tell you what that does look like. That looks like a business owner who is really insecure and is often like the mean person or like the mean girl in a business group. I feel like there's like always one at a networking event or whatever, or just somebody who just is like, meh. We use the term projecting or whatever. That is somebody who is constantly in their own mind beating themselves up. They don't think they can get this stuff done. They see all these like unfinished projects or, like unchecked off to-do lists. And so they don't have that self-efficacy. They're not able to just move forward in that free and light and creative space. And so it comes out in that insecurity where it's like it's easier to just kind of be icky and mean to people than it is to recognize my own growth. When you see an entrepreneur or a business owner who is really good at recognizing their growth and closing the loop and recognizing, okay, I finished this, I have the discipline to get this done, I can successfully move on to the next project and I can accomplish it. They move freely, they are confident, they move with ease, and it's easy for them to interact with other business owners and to encourage other business owners because they truly want their colleagues to have the same growth and wins as they do because they're just so safe in their own space. Does that make sense? Like they're so like comfortable and strong in their own skin because they know they get stuff done, as opposed to somebody who's like constantly trying to prove to themselves and to other people that like they have a viable business. It just runs so deep. And I feel like once you recognize this in yourself, you're going to be able to recognize this in other people. And once you recognize your own growth, it's like you just see people and business owners a little bit differently the more healthy that you are in your own business, if that all makes sense. So, recognizing the wins with that celebratory journal entry, you might kick it up a notch and take yourself out to dinner. I don't know. I remember when I first quit teaching and I had this dream of having a full-time sewing business. At that time it was still kind of part-time, but I knew that when I quit teaching, it would skyrocket. So we went to like a nice restaurant, we like toasted at the beginning of dinner, and Duran's like, "Why are we here when you don't have a paycheck?" And it was actually quite fair. Like, I don't know. Why are we spending money that we don't quite have yet? But I knew it was coming. And I was just celebrating the step of like, I quit my job. Like, I'm gonna, run with this thing full time. And so it was just like a little toast and a little celebration in that moment. That's what I always think about when I'm like, celebrate the moves, not the actual like results, but just the moves themselves. So give yourself some time to like, I don't know, take yourself to dinner, plan a little spa day, get a massage, or another thing that's free. I know it's always nice to talk about like the free stuff, the free ways we can celebrate. I keep all of my contracts, that are signed. I keep them in like a file cabinet, probably longer than I have to, but I'm like, I don't know, just in case, right? And so at the end of a busy season, to hold them all in my hand and flip through some of the names and be like, wow, I remember when they just booked with me. Like, okay, this seemed like, okay, it's going to be a busy month. Here we go. These are all completed projects, happy clients. The dresses fit beautifully. Like, I can just hold the contracts and celebrate that and just think about it. Like, that's really cool. Like, even if you had like 10 clients this year, those are 10 people that you had a relationship with, you invested in, you felt like really proud of the work that you sent out the door. They were happy enough to sign their name at the bottom of this contract and be like, yes, I love this alteration. Like, it's great. I can't wait to write down the aisle. Like, that is something to just like pause and recognize before moving on. It's just something simple as holding the stack of contracts, right? And giving yourself a chance to think about what's been finished and what's been accomplished before you plow into the blogging or just okay, oh, this didn't work this year, so I need to fix it for next year. Like my workflow is still not perfect. Like I cannot have another stressful season. So many of us go into the next season with that mindset of like, I cannot do this again. I'm in burnout. Okay, but you actually did it this year. You actually like finished a successful season. Like you made money, you provided for your family, you added to your savings account. You weren't sued. That is always something to celebrate when we work with the public. Am I right? Gosh. So when at the end of the day, you are maybe writing your to-do list for the next day. Do you ever do that? I used to always do that because I loved it. It's like, this is what I want to get done tomorrow. Okay. And then it was like off my mind. I could have a better night's sleep if I knew what I wanted to get done tomorrow. I read, or I don't even know. No, I think it was my coach at the time told me to do it opposite. Instead of writing down what you want to do the next day, write down what you accomplished today and include things like I made the bed. I I went for a walk. I cleared out my inbox. I had 3 fittings and 2 pickups and they were great. I got my protein in for the day. You know what I mean? Like just write down the things that you knew you had to get done today. You did it. And then that in itself is just like a daily loop closer. It's awesome. It's awesome. The next morning you can write your to-do list, sure. But if you're constantly writing a to-do list at night and then in the morning, or if you're constantly like that's the only way you organize your thoughts is like giving yourself more things to do, think about like just take a step back, okay? Take a step back and think about what that could be doing to you long term. So that's just like a daily maintenance of closing the loop. Then you want to close the loop like seasonally. So we just wrapped up summer. So think about you had financial targets. Did you hit those? Yeah. Okay, awesome. I bet you did. And if you didn't, okay, how close did you get? You had more in September than you did in May. So let's recognize that, right? Did you have some project milestones? Like, okay, I had these, 10 dresses that came through this month, and guess what? They're all gone. Awesome. I didn't sew through my finger or whatever. Like these are milestones and just take a beat to think about it if you're not going to write it down. Like, so we have these like daily tasks, we have like a seasonal thing, and then like your close your loops annually. Like I love the end of the year. Within our membership, we do a letter of intention, like a time capsule letter. It is really powerful. I think it is. I mean, it is cheesy. I don't care. I am cheesy. Okay. So we write a letter to ourselves, to our future selves in January, and then you hide it away and then you pull it out and you read it on December 31st. And it's a really cool tradition because you are a different person at the end of the new year and you look back on just what was done. Like, wow, when I wrote this, I didn't know that like I would, all these other things would have come through my business or come through my life. And like, I'm here now. There could be good things, there could be not great things that you have to reflect on. But that's just kind of cool. I love the little time capsule letter. But just take a minute, like, okay, New Year's Eve, what are you thinking about this year? Who did you become in 2025, right? That could be a whole new podcast episode, so I won't delve into that. But you see what I'm saying, where it's like you get a daily check-in, a seasonal check-in, an annual check-in. Just close those loops. Do yourself a favor. And what that does is it just clears your brain for space for new creative things. It's like I really got into gardening this year. Like I was into gardening last year, but this year I got the whole arch, which I feel is a really big deal. Okay. I made Jerron do that for me. Not like I could ever do it on my own. I was really, really into my garden this year, the vegetable garden and the florals. And I had like a cut flower garden, which I want to grow even more next year. I'm so excited. Anyway, those weeds. I didn't pick weeds every day because they wouldn't grow every day, honestly. So I can't really use that apples to apples with weeds and thoughts or to-do lists. But I will tell you they popped up every week. And if I weren't picking up those weeds every week, we had a week go by that I didn't weed, and then we went on vacation. So that was like another week. And then I came home and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're everywhere. And there was no room for my cute little vegetables to grow because my weeds were getting everywhere. So if you have this like picture in your mind of like a really beautiful garden and these gross weeds getting up in there, and then you clear out the weeds. Like you spend a couple hours just getting in there, getting the dirt under your fingernails, even though you wear garden gloves. I don't know how that happens, but I hate it. And then whenever I get my nails done, they're like, ugh. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I garden. Same thing as with my pedicure. It's like, I don't know what's under there until I take the toenail polish off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I garden. I'm sorry. Anyway, I digress. So you spend that time weeding. And then what do you have left? This like fresh topsoil look. And it's like your cute little vegetables and then just brown dirt. And it's like space. It's like that open space, so that the good things can grow. And same thing is with your cute little brain, cute garden, cute brain. Okay. You clean out those weeds of those voices saying, like, you're not going to get stuff done. Close those loops. And then it's like you have fresh soil. You're giving yourself permission to think about other things because you have successfully completed the first list. Doesn't that even just sound like I can't wait for you to journal through this? I'm like, because I feel like you're gonna grow and you're gonna just flourish and you're gonna have all this open space. And I can't wait for you to feel that because it's so freeing. And if you have come this far in your business, it's because you drive yourself, which is super admirable, by the way. But I'm sure you're driving yourself like more than you need to, and you might not be healthy. I don't know. And again, like I am I don't want you to have this like huge big head and build this big ego, but there is this balance of like, you know, you are a human being before you're a business owner. And so, like, gotta take care of yourself, right? So don't worry. I am going to get into the episodes about, what to do in your business to clean it up before next season. I love these episodes, and that's what we're getting into in our membership. We're busting out our six-figure seamstress course. And if you're interested in the course itself, and you're like, the membership wasn't for me, but I need some help with getting all these things done, you can purchase the course separately. It's $9.97 and it's a 6-course meal. It's a 6-lesson course. There we go. And you get a one-on-one strategy session with me built into that price. So this is the season to get those things done. And if you're like, yeah, I want that, then let's do it. We can totally do it. But before you even get to that point where you're like, six-figure seamstress, yeah, bust out the coursework. Yeah, give me some one-on-one support. Awesome. Before you get there, do these little exercises, close the loop so that you have the freedom and the space to be the best person you can be for yourself and for your family and for your business in 2026. And that starts with just recognizing what you got done, girl, because you got a lot done. Okay, I hope that encourages you. Let me know what you find when you close the loops. Like, what are you celebrating? The big things and the small things. You can email me, you can DM me on Instagram. I love reading your DMs or hearing your voice memos, so please keep them coming. If this episode has encouraged you, please share it with a friend. If you know somebody who's like, oh, she's not healthy. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't need to be that. If you are sharing it with somebody who's like, she does so much and she just needs to take a beat and like recognize what she's actually accomplished, send this to her, please. And what would really help the podcast is if you were to leave a review. That allows more seamstresses to find this podcast, to get encouraged, to learn about how to make their best version of their business. So I appreciate the shares and the reviews and your DMs, all of it. All right, I will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in.